Welcome, welcome. Hey, it's good to be back on a Thursday night with all of my crafty friends. Tonight, it is my plan to do some gilding wax and some stencil work because it has been requested. I was a little surprised when I sent Kat down to pull me one each of the new gilding wax colors, only to find that many of the colors are out of stock, which is totally weird because I just got them. But yeah, you guys were really interested in seeing these colors, evidently, and they went out as fast as they came in. But we're going to make do. I have a few of the new colors, and I think it'll work okay with the project that I want to do. It just surprised me because it's not what I expected to happen. So we got that going for us. But you know what? My world is great because you know why? Taxes are done.
Amen.
I live with such a stress through tax season every year. And it's just such a relief when taxes are done. So the colors I'm out of are the purple and the blue, and I really wanted to show you those. But the good news is I chose a water lily for today, and I'm going to use the pink on the water lily, so I think that'll work well. I'm going to probably combine colors on the this is their green. Would you go ahead and sigh of relief is true. And thank you, Annette. Congratulations, RD. Oh, yeah, I suppose we should do that. Hello, Diane and Mary T and Annette. I saw Thelma out there. And Mary R. Diane. And didn't I see Thelma? I thought I saw Thelma. Yeah, there she is. And Betty Gosel. Hi, Betty. Mary T. Roberta. So if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. So anyway, this is a really, really bright color. I probably will mix this with the Gilded Touch color because it will be I think in general it will probably look better. We might try it with the green just so you can see what the green looks like. I need two things I did not get here with. Will you please find me... There's my water brushes right there. That's good. Margie's obviously been using them because they're right there. Hello. Knocking things off on the floor. I need the spritzer from over there. Oh, here's my good one. Never mind. Not my good one. And I need a paint palette from down there. Okay. I am using, in case you're curious about it, I'm using the Lisa Horton stamping and stenciling platform. I'm not sure if these are, I think they're in the store. They might not be, though. If you're interested in this, let me know. It will be a little, I will have to raise the price just a little bit because it's a big unit to ship, but it is a pretty cool station. It works like a stamping station. It's got the foam, so if you're using clear stamps, you can go ahead and use your thin stamps with this. If you're using the thicker stamps like Heartfelt Creations, you can take the foam out, just like we're used to with our other stamping platforms. This one has this silicone mat inside, which tends to hold your paper firmer, which is kind of nice. And it has some little pegs for all of the stencils. Now, that is all the good stuff. It is kind of expensive. So, but if anybody's interested, I can make it available to you. But that's the tool I'm using today. I promised Kim that we would do both embossing with the, or gilding paste with the new colors, which I will definitely do. And then we would do some distress oxides through the stencils so that you can see that also. The one I chose to use for our purposes today is the water lilies. It is Lisa Horton LHCEF090. I think we have about 4 more of these in stock. It's a gorgeous slimline orientation. And it has, of course, the beautiful cutting die that goes with it. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get this thing embossed. And what did I just do with my black pack of paper? There it is. I'm going to go ahead and if you're not used to an earthquake can be really disorienting. We get quite a few of them out here in this part of the country, but we don't feel them very often in Oregon. It's not like California where the earth shakes and, people really just don't change their their movements at all because they're so used to it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to size. Let me just go ahead while I'm embossing and emboss a couple of these. So there's one. Let's make a second one while we're making, because why not? Because why not? Taxes are done and the world is a friendly place again. And let's see. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, because this is a 3D embossing folder, I'm going to spritz this. I'm so sorry about Heartfelt Creations, guys. If you guys I suspected, as I said in the newsletter, I suspected that something was up with Heartfelt Creations because they were just moving too many things into their discount area. And it just, I told Bryce a while back, something's up with them. They're either getting ready to sell or they're getting ready to close or something because they're just discounting way too much product and leaving it in discounted areas. So I started stocking up on Heartfelt Creations for a couple of reasons. One was because I wanted you guys to be able to complete your collections. And two, there's still a lot of Heartfelt Creations designs that I really, really love and wanted to be able to offer classes in. And so I've been trying to get enough quantity built up to be able to offer some more classes like the Calla Lily class that Margie did, which I think was just phenomenal. Oh my gosh, those are some of the prettiest cards I've ever seen. Just beautiful. And so I'm sorry that that's occurring, but good news, there is good news. That is the Iris collection is coming up, and I ordered 10 I Wanted All collections so we would have enough to break some up and make some of those products available, which are already sold out on Heartfelt Creations. And if anybody wants an I Want It All, I have a few of those. So that's going to be really exciting because you can't get it. You can't get it anymore. But it's just phenomenal. So beautiful. So anyway, the Iris is still coming out. They haven't even hit at Heartfelt yet. I don't think they've been shipped yet, but as soon as they are shipped, we'll be at the front of the line. And I will keep an eye out for what else is new. They said they had new product coming in through June, and then they'll be starting to gear things back, and they expect to be done by the end of the year. So we'll keep a close eye on what's happening, and I'll make sure that I do everything I can to create enough stock that you guys could finish your collections. With that said, you need to probably get the things you specifically want before too long, because Amazon and Etsy, the announcement happened, and Amazon and Etsy were just full of Heart Creations orders from people outside of our group that were trying to fill out their collections, and things were already gone. So if there's something you specifically want, be sure that you jump in and grab that pretty soon, okay? And we do still intend to have some Heartfelt Creations classes. I actually have accumulated a pretty good stash of, Bryce over there rolling his eyes and shaking his head when I say pretty good stash. We have a pretty good stash of Heartfelt Creations. So anyway, gonna spritz this cardstock. I don't want to make it wet, but I do want to soften up those fibers enough that those fibers will press in without creating a tear in our paper. And if you've had that happen, it's happening because, okay, 3D, A, our folder, and the C. That's the C folder. Okay, I always have to look at my cheat notes on my machine before we really have to clean up in here. I have so many projects pending that I have stacks everywhere back here. Let's see how my embossing did not turn out very well, so I'm going to add a shim plate to this sandwich. Put the top back on, and we'll see what happens. Might have to add more. Still seems kind of loose. Let's see what's happening. Still not what I want. I'm going to try. I'm going to put my mat in. Take the shim plate out. Let's see what happens if I do this. This may not even go through. We'll see. This machine will do absolutely anything, but sometimes you have to play with your sandwiches a little bit to get them to work just the way you want. I think this is going to work nicely, though. It kind of feels tighter, and that's what I'm wanting.
Mary R says, Debbie, no more making fun of the inking mat.
That's probably business, you know. Oh, that's probably exactly it. All my making fun of their inking mat probably put them out of business. Because you know how seriously everybody takes my comments. Yeah, this was the correct sandwich. So anybody out there who's watching, who has this Go Press and Emboss machine, if you want to run a 3D embossing folder, you use the A plate, the big white thick one. You use the embossing mat. Then you put your folder and paper on, and you cover it with the C plate. And that made a perfect impression. So there we go.
Annette says she uses cereal boxes as her shims.
Great idea. That's a great idea. Not wasting cardstock that way.
Hi to Glenn.
Hi, Glenn. So let's take a look at these. You can see this one's still just a little bit wet because I spritzed it. Let me wipe my spritzing off just a little bit, but look how beautiful that's embossed. Gorgeous. And this one has dried more because it has been out longer. So let's get this show on the road. I'm going to move this out of the way for now. I've got my beautiful, why don't you come in a little bit so they can see, get to where you can see the embossing detail on here, please. I'm using a water brush. I'm going to use my Lyrical. Yeah, these are from Pink Ink and they're called Lyrical Waxes. It's a water-based wax formula.
Glenn said he just had his bubble bath.
Oh, okay.
And Mary R. has been known to use junk mail as a shim.
Good idea. Okay, so I'm getting some gold Lyrical wax, and now I'm using the pink one, which is called Lily. And you don't need an awful lot. You can always add more, and it's not inexpensive stuff. So I recommend you start with a little and build from there. Now, I water this down quite a bit with the Gilded Touch, but I found that with the Lyricals...
You just went off camera.
Oh. Well, I found that, well, why don't you move the camera a little bit so I can be comfortable and work. There we go. I found that with the Lyricals, I don't want quite as much water. Gonna need a little more water than that, though. Just 1 drop of water is more than enough to just thin that paste down just a little to allow us to pick it up and paint with it. I kind of like the effect that you get if you... I probably want my color a little more intense than this that I've gotten right here, but at the same time, I kind of like the color. I kind of like having the nooks and crannies really show. So this is the pink Lyrical wax. And I'll go over some of this again as necessary. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting your color down and then going from there. So my nephew, whom I've told you about before, went in this week and had another brain surgery. They put some posts in to his brain in different places in an attempt to try and find the source of his seizures. He had some before, but this time they went deeper and more of them. And so that was on Tuesday, right? Tuesday? Yeah. That was on Tuesday morning. They've been able to locate the source of the seizures. They'd still like him to have a few more while he's in a controlled environment in the hospital so they can learn more about the seizures that he has. And they're saying that now they're going to need to do real brain surgery, not just the implant of the posts, but actually go in and mess with the tissues in his brain in the next surgery. But the hope is that they can stop these seizures. My nephew is 34 years old and has been on Social Security disability for what, 6, 7 years now? Because he can't work, he can't drive. These seizures just control his life. And the kid wants nothing more than to be able to go to school and get a regular job, go to school, learn a trade, and get a regular job like anybody else. That's what he wants out of his life. But he hasn't been able to do that. This is Brittany's brother we're talking about. But it is reason for hope that they think they have discovered kind of the source of the seizure problem. So we're optimistic about that. He went in a few years ago and had this procedure done that in 90% of the cases where they had done it, it stopped the seizures entirely. He went in and had it done and it didn't work. So that since then they've been trying to get enough information on the seizures to learn what they can do to control them. But it's something that has not only dominated his life, but his mom and dad's lives. So say a little prayer for him, if you will, please, because I sure would like to see my nephew be able to meet his potential. He's really a neat kid. And he's not a kid, he's a full grown 35, 34-year-old man, but he just hasn't been able to live the life of a man, And so I sure would like to see that change for him. But we do have cause for optimism, so fortunately we have one of the best epilepsy centers in the U.S. right here in Portland with the Oregon Health Sciences Center University. And so we know we have really good doctors working on it. Okay. I think I painted a couple things I wasn't supposed to, but that's a good example to show for how we take care of that. I need baby wipes, please, honey. My baby wipes have disappeared. I'll just set this pen aside and use another one for a minute. Okay, I'm going to go in and get some of this gold. Thank you. Now, the beautiful thing about this is you can paint right over one color with another color. So to be able to get that gold in there, I can just come right back in and...
Does it dry really fast then?
Yeah. It dries super fast. It looks to me like there actually might have been a place it could have made gold on this one. So I'll put a little gold in the center of that one. Thank you, guys. All right. Now let's see. We've seen what the bright pink looks like. But let's see what the bright green looks like. And then we might tone the green down a little bit because I have a nice color that we can tone it with. Where is that one? Tarnish gold. Where's my demon? Here it is. It was hiding. It was hiding. I have this autumn bronze I can tone this green down with. It was necessary because it's really bright. We can try the really bright though and see what we think. Because as I said, we can.
What are you using now? So
What I have just put on was I used the Lyrical Gold, and I used the pink from Lyrical. And now we're going to try the green, but we know this green is really, really bright. And so
this is gilding paste from
this is it's not gilding paste, it's gilding wax.
wax.
And the one that we're using today is Lyrical. It's by Pink Ink. They're the ones who made our hybrid stamp pad we use.
Say hi to Kim.
Hi, Kim. I'm doing this largely for you today, Kim, because you asked for this. So I'm glad you're here. So here's the green. If we just use the green just as is. That's pretty bright. It's not bad, though. It, against the pink, it actually looks kind of pretty.
I like it.
Do you like it?
Yep.
I'm going to put a little green over the top of this pink here because I think that was supposed to be a leaf. Very forgiving stuff, I have to say.
You could pull your paint tray into the camera view so they can see how you're dabbing.
Yes, I can do that. Thank you for letting me know you couldn't see it. Okay.
And what kind of brush are you using?
I'm using water brushes. And you guys know I love water brushes. I just love them. They are such useful and helpful little devices. They're not expensive, and they are just so useful. Now, if this paste gets overly thick, we're just going to squeeze just one drop of water into it. We don't want it to get too thin, but we also...
Wax.
Huh?
I thought you said it was wax, not paste.
And well...
That's what you corrected me on.
It is a wax. It's also a water-based product, so we can... Which is interesting to me that it's wax and it's water-based. Don't ask me how they do that. I don't know. But...
Would you call that a lime green or a mint green?
It's apple green. That's what they call it. Apple green. Now, sometimes, like I said earlier, I kind of like to get it to where the veining and stuff shows really nicely. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's what happens if I add just a little more water to it, which I've done here now.
Can you mix the colors?
Yes, we can. And in fact, I may touch these up a little bit with some of the darker, just so you can see what would happen. I can also do it on a piece of scratch paper. If you guys like the color it is now, then I can just do that on a piece of scratch paper. Let's see. Let me make sure I've got my green done. Oops. I just colored outside the line. I'm not happy with myself over that.
Won't that disappear when you punch it?
Yes. I was just going to say, when I cut this out with my cutting die, it won't matter if I went over the lines a little bit. I don't have to cut it out with a cutting die, but if the cutting die is very useful for times when you go over what you intended to paint, it really isn't a bad mistake there, but...
Now, will these colors change depending on the color of paper? So
yes.
White or cream or
they
ivory?
love dark paper. They really love dark paper. If you want to see it in white, we could try putting some on white. I have another flower petal I missed here. Let's get this flower petal. I do like this water lily a lot. Isn't that beautiful? You note how I turn paper around instead of reaching over to paint? That's an important technique when you're painting on paper, to shift your paper orientation instead of reaching over what you've already painted. Now, let's see, do we want our vine gold or green? I think we want our vine green, maybe.
Get the dark green.
Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put a little bit of the dark green down, and then we'll mix them. So I will show you on my scratch paper here. This is the light green. This is the dark green. See there? They actually both pick up the light quite a bit. Let's grab a little of this light green, mix into the dark. It's usually better to put the dark into the light. Let's do that way. Now, not only am I mixing two different colors, I'm actually mixing two different brands. Because one's Gilded Touch and the other one is. The other one is Lyrical. So we have Apple Green, we have Autumn Blaze, and we have the mix between the two. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead and use this mix between the two because I have a finer paintbrush here. I'm going to try and see if I can get this primarily on top of this line. That may require more skill than I've got. That's not bad though. Just got it on my pink. I'll have to go over that. I just placed an order for more of the Lyrical. So the blue and the lavender, and then all these, the pinks and greens and bronzes will be back in stock in a week or two. We do have the pink. I think Kat might have told me this was the last one though. So if you want these, just be patient for a short time and they should be here. I couldn't believe it. I mean, they just did come in. I couldn't believe we were out already, but that happens when people are intrigued by what they see. So I'm glad I'm cutting this out because I'm not doing the world's best job at getting this.
Can you use toothpicks to rub very lightly across the really thin lines?
Yes, I think you could. Might be a very good way to go. Might be a really good way to go, which I did not do. Most of the stencils don't have this super fine line here. I picked this one because I wanted to do the pink lilies. Okay, let me clean up my painting a little bit. And then we'll try die cutting this. So let's look and see what needs more paint. I think.
Kim thinks your hand is quite steady.
Bless your heart, Kim. I'm not sure I agree, but I appreciate the compliment. I'm just going in and cleaning up my painting just a little, making it just a little darker where it's particularly light. Okay, so let's die cut this now. Now, one thing we did find when we were die cutting them after we painted them is that the sometimes it squished it down a little bit. And if it does that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put it back through the folder. Because that's not a problem. We can take care of that. I am going to tape this in place. Maybe. There it is. I'm going to tape this in place so that I get it cut right where I want it. Well, the nice thing, Kim, is if it gets a little off because of those trimmers, we can trim the edge. So let's take this. Sorry, I'm disappearing from view here, but my die cutter's behind me. And I'm going to take my B plate, my C plate, my A plate. This might squish this just a little bit. We're not going to worry about that. No, I didn't that cut. I didn't have it tight enough, I guess. Oh, let's have a shim plate between them. I cut this time. Huh. Why is this being a pain? Oh, because I'm not using the right plate. That would do it. That would be a reason why it's not doing it. I would try to say it's because my plates are all out of order because other people use them, but the truth is, I probably would make the same mistake anyway. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again. I was using the wrong plate. I had two C plates instead of a C and a B. That sounds like it's cutting now. You hear that little crackle? It's a good sound. When you're new to die cutting and you hear that crackle, you think, oh my gosh, that doesn't sound good. I'm tearing something up. I'm messing it up. No, you're not. That's the sound of die cutting. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. All right, let's take these tapes off and our die off. And in this case, my
One says this is a long commercial.
A long commercial. Okay. Somebody in here? Oh, cat. Hi, cat.
Hey. Mama Will.
Okay. All right. Now, these little areas where I was kind of uncomfortable about my painting suddenly look way better once we have die cut them. See that? We get this nice black border around here. It's beautiful. And it did smash it a little bit. So let's put it back in our folder. Because we figured that out when we were doing this before, that we want our 3D effect to be still with us. So we're going to put it back in our 3D folder. And I'm going to use my plate, my embossing pad, my folder, and my lid. Let's run this back through again so we get that depth again. And now we have beautiful, beautiful dimension again. See that? Look there. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Let's put this on a card. Good night, cat. I think we either want ink or color behind us on our card. Look at a DL card base here. Maybe we should just use some distress inks. We want to use, kind of want something soft. I kind of like this blue-gray kind of color. Let's use that one. This is called Stormy Sky. I want to see for sure what color it is since I haven't used it. I'm going to grab a embossing tool here, pouncer. Bounce that color off just a bit. All right. I'm going to put just a little color. Oh, I'm getting just a little color. I may have to change colors. This is Distress Oxide Stormy Sky. And it's really light. Well, I think it's going to work, so just have to get enough ink on there to create that sense of water. It would have been easier to use blue cardstock. Oops, I just got it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to keep going, just see what I get. This might be my applicator. I've gotten so used to using the brushes now. I really don't mind if there's variations in my water. Where'd it go? There it is. Variations in the tone of my water, because that's kind of how water is. Need to add a little more. In here. I'm liking that now. Actually like the variations in tone very much. There we go. We need a sentiment of some sort on here, I think. I don't have to put it on right now, but I might use like a black happy birthday or something up here. Wouldn't that be pretty? Let's see. Let's get a glue bottle here. Hope it works. Ah, it does. Okay.
Surprise.
Huh?
Surprise.
Yeah. Add some glue on here. That's giving me a very skinny stream of glue. Get a little more as I go here. Add a little more to that first area so it doesn't dry before I even get the rest of it outlined. All right, here we go.
Off camera.
There we go. There you go, Kim. There's the new colors. This is the water lily from Lisa Horton, the pink, the apple, and the gold lyric, with a little bit of the green. It's not even called green. It's called autumn something.
Blaze.
Autumn Blaze. Yes, Autumn Blaze mixed in for good measure. We'll put a black happy birthday on there. And that's going to look great. What do you guys think of those? Of those lyricals? Pretty, huh? Okay. All right. I also said we were going to use, I'm going to move these off and out of our way. I don't think we need this anymore. Oops. You take these in the bathroom and just run some water on them until I can get them clean, please. The brushes, it might be good to just squish a little bit so they don't dry with the paste on them. Okay. Now, let's use, we said we were also going to use the, I didn't have the water lily one, so I'm using one I used before in class. This is the peony and rose layering system. So I think we will use this one today. And we're going to use the layers now. It's been a while since I've done this, so I should have practiced with my colors, but I was out of town yesterday taking my mom to a cancer appointment and didn't have a chance today after I caught up on all the business of the day to practice these. So we're going to we're going to give this kind of a dry run. Hope you don't mind, but that's what we're going to do. With my colors, I'm not worried about the system. The system works great. The colors for the different layers sometimes need a little experimentation. And that we'll just figure out as we go. How is my mom doing? My mom is amazing. She still has cancer, as we know. And she's still under treatment for that. She's using half of the dose that she used before when she got sick with it. So she's just on half a dose of the chemo. She has a PET scan coming up next month. And then they'll decide where she is in the process and how it's going and what kind of changes, if any, we want to make. She's not sure she wants to go back on a full dose of the chemo that made her feel so bad. I don't blame her for that. It's possible the doctor could say, well, Peggy, if you don't do it, you're giving the cancer a foothold. So we don't know for sure what the, where things stand until she has that appointment. But boy, she feels good right now. She feels energetic. She feels strong. And, she's happy. And she has a really good quality of life. And all those things make me very happy. Now, on these stencils, somewhere there are some numbers. There really, really are. There they are. In the upper corner, it says that stencil number 6. We're going to use these stencils in order of their numbers. Here's stencil number 5. So it gives me both the I know it's important to know the numbers because they give you the orientation to put the stencil on so they're all facing the same way. No, she had no lingering effects of COVID at all, Diane. In fact, she sailed through COVID. Of course, she had that heart failure afterwards, and the COVID could have contributed to that happening. But okay, here we go. I've got my stencils in order, numbered from 1 to 6. There's usually 6 in a set, but sometimes there's 8 stencils in a set, just depending on how, just depending on what the, detail is in the image. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape. This is actually very steady, but you know me, I don't trust things not to slide. So I'm going to use a little bit of my paper tape here too, just to try and help make sure that my paper stays absolutely in the same spot. And if you're using, I'm going to make sure that my pad is slid all the way to the side. Then I'm going to take my layering stencil and I'm going to hook it onto these little pegs. Now, if you don't have these little pegs, you need to make sure that you're using some kind of a grid so that all of your stencils are going on in exactly the same position, okay? So that it hits your paper exactly the same way. Now, this is my first leaf. So I'm not going to want to use a real dark green. I think I'm going to use, I'm going to try the sage. And let me see. Change my blending tool here. I was watching a tutorial by Tim Holtz on these distress oxides versus the regular ones, and he says when you put the ink on it, it really shouldn't absorb, so you're not going to see a lot of ink standing on the pad. So that's kind of good to know, I think. I think that's useful to know that even though you don't see a lot of ink on there, the ink is there. And I'm just going to start working these areas of the stencil that are exposed. So I'm going to go over that. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to go over these leaves. Now these are going to get additional layers with more detail, so I don't need to put this ink on super dark. I can always add more definition if I want to. In fact, sometimes we'll come back in and add a little bit more depth to one of the original layers, maybe just around the edges or something, to give it just even a little bit more definition. But that's layer number one. We used, I am going to keep track of which ink I used on which layer. So I'm going to put them over here in order off to the side of my workspace. And this was stencil number one. And there's that one I used these bundled sage. Next, I'm going to get stencil number two. And this one's going to be also foliage. This is going to put the veining and stuff in. Now this time I think I'd like it to be a little darker. So I think I might try this one that says I'm going to try, I'm curious what these colors are because I'm just opening some of these. I haven't had a chance to use them all that much yet. But I'm going to try a color here called Rustic Wilderness. I already had this piece I was pouncing on. I wanted to see what color that is. Oh, that's actually a nice color. It's kind of a little darker than a Kelly green, which I think would be really nice for this. My paper is still in exactly the same position. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some of this ink using these lines in the stencil. The lines are in a different position, so it's going to give me a different effect. We'll see what they look like when we take it off in a couple of seconds here. So make sure I got everything covered. I'll lift my stencil off. Look how pretty this vining is in those leaves. Can you see that? This time with number two, I used the Rustic Wilderness. Okay, let's see what stencil number three is. Stencil number three is the first of my flowers. And I thought I might do pinks and maybe reds. So this is my first layer of my I might use this flamingo color on the bottom. Let's just see what happens. Quiche flamingo. I'm going to peel off my green, add my red. You know what I do sometimes? You did this on my Hunky Dory pad, so I'm going to need to do this on my Distress Oxides too. I took a piece of Velcro and I hooked a pad to the bottom of each of my pads that had its own color. Remember that these are, Ranger doesn't, we have an agreement with Ranger. They won't let us put these on deep discount. The most you're allowed to discount these is 10%. So you will never see, unless it's by Ranger themselves, you will never see these on sale for more than 10% off, because that they made us sign an agreement before we could carry it that we would not discount more than 10%. And so we have that 10% discount on right now. And you might be thinking, well, that's kind of cheap, Debbie. I mean, you give us better discounts than that. Yes, I do when I can. But Ranger says no discounts more than 10%. Therefore, no discounts more than 10%, because I believe in playing by the rules. If I tell them I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So, but I do have these pads and the re-inkers. I've heard a lot of complaints online about people not being able to find the re-inkers once they get the pads. That's a beautiful pink, by the way. Isn't that gorgeous? I kind of like the variation in color. I'm not going to try and make it perfect. I like that variation in color. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. That's the flamingo, and that's layer number 3. That's beautiful. I love that. The stencil set I'm using, I'm not sure I told you which one it is. This is the layering stencils, Peony Rose Stem. Okay, so let's see what our next stencil is. We're going to stencil
4.
Yes. I picked up 3 again. I thought, wait, I thought we just did that. Then we're going to put on some detail. So what this is going to do is it's going to lay down a little bit darker color, just a little. I don't want a terribly darker color because I really like that soft pink. But, oh, I have 2 of these. I have to send one back to the store. I picked the same color again. I'm consistent. Let's see. Picked raspberry. Might be nice. Lumberjack's too dark. Worn lipstick. These are a little too corally. Oh, I do like that though. Festive berries or picked raspberry. Let's see what those 2 colors look like. And we'll choose one of those. Now I can go ahead and I can use the same applicator I used last time for this next layer. We have all of the re-inkers in stock. I bought all the re-inkers when I bought the pads because I didn't want you guys to. That's a really nice color. I don't think I even need to look at the other. This is going to be picked raspberry. I don't think I even need to look at the other colors. I really like this one. I'm going to start off of away from my image so I don't get any circles in my image. I'm starting out here and then I bring my sponge in. See that? And that'll give me a nice soft image without having real dark spots in it. This is beautiful color. This is going to be pretty. Okay. Picked raspberry on top of our flamingo. Kind of went over a little bit there. It doesn't matter. I'm going to cut this out. That's pretty. Look at that. Soft and gorgeous. Okay. We're going to stencil number 5. Stencil number 5 wants a slightly deeper color. That's picked raspberry. Let's see. Let's see if this festive berries is a darker color. It kind of looks like it is. Okay, yeah, this is more red, which I like for this next layer. I'm going to pick up some of that red. Make sure that everything is right where it's supposed to be. And I'm going to go in with this red color, which is really going to add some texture and interest to our peony / rose. I'll put this back on. I think there was a little more up here I could have gotten. There we go. Wow, pretty. Now we have a deeper color. Still a deeper color. That was Festive Berries. Let's find a deeper one. I do have this barn door. I have Candied Apple, which is a more red. And what do we think? I'm thinking, let's keep it pretty red. Let's go to the Candied Apple. Bryce is shaking his head. He agrees. This is the part it's nice if you have chance to play with them ahead of time and decide what colors you like for each layer. We're just kind of winging it, but that's okay. I don't have to change the color because I'm going to a darker color. I don't have to change my blending. Okay, everything is right, lined up the way it's supposed to be. So it's going to add a little more tone, a little more color to our roses / peonies. They really do look a lot like a rose and a peony, don't you think? They really do. The way they have all the multiple petals and things. So I'm not surprised they use the same stencil for both. Okay. This was our number 6 stencil. Wowzer. What do you think? We could go back and we could do more on any layer that we wanted to, but I don't think we need to. I think it's beautiful. Let's make a card out of it. Wowzer. So by keeping track of which inks we used with which layer, we could always go back and adjust and put a little more color here or there if we wanted to. But I think it's beautiful. Let's see. I need a 5x7. My cards are such a mess right now. There's a 5x7. Okay. Might be nice. Do you have a piece of pink? Kind of a bright pink or green. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and start working towards trimming this down. I'm going to make this. Let's start with cutting this to 5.5. And I'll cut it to 5 over here. I'm just gonna take a little off each side to try and keep that centered. And I'm going to work till I get it to 4 3/4. Now clearly I have to cut here because that's where my inking went astray at the top. So, and then I'm going to make this 6 3/4. This can be a good place for greeting at the bottom. Let's see what we want to put under it. What I might want to do is let my white show. I'm going to make double mat it. I'm going to come back in and take a little more off. I'm going to double mat this. So I'm going to let my white show. I'm going to take this to 4.5 inches wide by 6.5 inches long. Then I'm going to cut my pink to be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then I can double mat it so I have white showing around the outside. I'm going to narrow that just a little again. Cut it a little wide. There we go. Oh, that looks beautiful. Back up a little, please. Wowzer. What do you think, guys? I think I like it. Wish I had a bottle of glue here that was a little more cooperative. Oh, here we go. This one's going to go a little bit faster.
Irene says I love it.
Isn't that fun? And what a beautiful way to get
lovely.
That gorgeous, gorgeous shading without having to paint it yourself and figure out all those layers. Lisa Horton already did it for us by going through and doing her painting and then determining which layers needed to be which colors. Isn't that just cool?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. And you can use about any medium you want to use to do this. I bet. We haven't tried this. And we have just a few minutes left. I'll bet we could maybe, well, actually I don't have enough colors. I was going to say, I think we could probably do it with the gilding waxes, but I don't have enough shades. So that's not going to work. The distress oxides were beautiful, though, because we have so many different colors available. Got that a little off. The beauty of glue. You can slide this around a little bit. Get it right where I want it to be. How gorgeous is that? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, we were talking about the fact that this picture's not bad, but these pictures, could I mix the wax with inks? I don't know. We could
probably put the wax on top as the last layer on top of an ink.
I don't know. Let's try on a piece of scratch paper. What I do is my other card we finished. Let me give those back to you before I ruin them. Where's our other card we did? It's here somewhere. Really? What did I do with my card? got to be up here in this mess. There it is. Boy, I love those. Look at those. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay, well, we have a few minutes. Let's try. Let's see what happens. I do know that you can use the inks, the ink pads with water. I do know that you can do that. Oh, thank you for getting my brushes, my palette. He's so intuitive. He headed for the bathroom and went and got my brushes and my palette back for me. Thank you. You even washed them. What a guy.
For what it was worth.
What a guy. Yeah, now I'm going to mess them up again. Okay. I have mowed grass here. I'm going to take a water brush. I'm going to pick up some of that pigment. I can't really get it in there to just put it down on there. But, oh, there we go, though. Okay. And I'm going to actually try mixing them. I don't know why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, not sure.
I don't know why it wouldn't. Well, I'll tell you what, that's downright beautiful. Okay, let's go back to layer one. Have another piece of cardstock here somewhere. Nope, that's not it. I have a piece I cut off. There it is. Okay. We're going to try it again. I don't know what we're going to get. I have no clue. But let's find out. And then maybe by mixing darker colors of ink or more ink with the okay, that's layer one, right? Yes, that's layer number one. I'm always up for experimenting. You guys know that. Just using my water brush in place of I'm going to use, when I do this, I'm going to use my lyrical on the page that has, I hope this isn't sinking through underneath. I have the sinking feeling that it is going under the stencil. It might be. If it is, we'll have to try it again with less water. It did. That's icky. Okay. Didn't like that. Yeah. We gotta use less water this time. Okay. Does give it kind of a watercolor effect. Might have been okay. But let's try it again. Let's just use less water this time, which is a big command for a water brush. I'd have to use regular paintbrush. Or I have a brush, a blender brush over there. Let's try that. Okay, I'll dry this off the back because it's got water on it. Okay, I'll put the stencil back in place. I still have my mix-up of my This is much drier application. Might need more though. This time we have the lyrical and the ink mixed together. It does give it a really pretty frosty sheen. Oh, I don't want to lift it up because I don't want to change the place where it is. Okay, now stencil number 2 was darker, and I think that this time I'm going to use this ink pad. Uh-oh. Oh, it just didn't go through at all, which was okay, I guess. I'm not mixing the lyrical at this level. I'm just adding the ink over the top of what we just did. That's not in the right place anymore. Did I put it on upside down? Huh. Weird. Huh. Maybe I put the first one on upside down. Oh, I had the first one in the wrong position. Darn it. Okay, more paper. We're making progress here. We're actually accomplishing something interesting, so I think we must continue.
This paper here.
Even if I have to start over. Let's just find out whether we can do this. I'm very curious. Okay, I put the peg on wrong last time. Now this is a very easy process. We've already determined that, so putting the thing on the wrong peg, there really wasn't a lot of excuse for that. That's
overwhelming.
Yes, but sometimes I'm goofy and I do things wrong. Okay, this time we want the lyrical wax. A pretty good amount of it because proportionally we want this to shine. I need to get a pretty good amount of this. This ink in my brush. That does give us a nice shiny. Let's try that again. This should not get under the stencil because we are using a very dry application. So I shouldn't have the problem we had the first time. Getting my hands all inky. There's nothing new or unusual about that. Okay, that was number 1. Number 2, we're going to go over that. This is going to be really pearlescent, so I got to clean this blender a little bit. What's going on with Thelma?
Her son showed up.
Huh?
Her son showed up at their house. She left quite a while ago.
Okay.
Or at least that's what we think.
All right. This time I have the pegs in the right place. I'm going to the oxide pad. I'm picking up just ink to see if I can layer that in a little bit darker color over the top. I do get a little bit. It is ever so slightly darker. I don't know if I have an even darker green. It is a little bit darker. Outline. There's rustic. Let's try some rustic wilderness. That might be a little bit darker. If you wondered what this brush is I'm using, this is a tonic brush, which I find very useful for trying to keep the application really dry. We still have a few of these in the store. One of our distributors was just purchased by the same company who purchased tonic. So we're going to be able to get way more tonic products more consistently, I think, in the future than we've gotten. All right, now we need to clean out our greens so we can try our pink. Probably need a different applicator too. Need to wash this brush. Huh?
They say your applicator looks like an old man's shaving.
It really,
brush.
yeah, it actually does. That'd probably be a great applicator. Trying to get some of that green out of there because I don't want the green turning my pink awful colors. All right. And let's find that lyrical. You know what might be better this time is let's put the background color on in pink, add one of our secondary colors in this one because it's so bright. So why don't we'll put that on in one of the later ones. Here's number 3. We did love the way this pink went down. If it seems like I'm trying to hurry, it's because I am sort of a little bit, because we need to get you done by 6. We got that beautiful pink down. Not too worried if there's any lighter areas there because they'll be picked up by the subsequent layers anyway. There's that quiche flamingo. Don't worry about this. And we got, that's layer 5. Layer 4. Maybe this is a good one to use the polish. And what kind of brush do I have? One of these. Okay, I'm going to pick up some of this and this brush. Ooh. This is turning out neat, guys. I do love it when an experiment works. Okay, now I need a little red for numbers That's number 6. Where's number 5? Number 5. Okay, we need a little. We used Festive Berry, didn't we? I think maybe I'll just go right over this ink. We'll see how it works. I'm going to try and go over the ink we just put down with our Festive Berry and see what happens. Adds an interesting, not sure I love it, but an interesting tone. And then the last one, we use candied. Yeah, we used candied red. Looks like I had a little bit of water on the back of one of my stencils. It caused a little smudge. Okay, candied apple. We're going to use next.
Kim says this is definitely brighter and more vibrant.
I'm just going to go right over that with. I don't know if we'll still get the pearlescence through it or not, because it's just an experiment. We never know what we're going to get when we experiment, but isn't it fun to try? Well, I think what we need to do here, where it kind of smudged out, is maybe cut this out with our, because we have the die and.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Here. It's way up here.
Somewhere on this table, I have the embossing folder and the die. I don't think I would have to. I'm going to cut it first and emboss it. I don't think I would have to wet it because it's got a lot of ink in it.
Might wet the back side.
Huh?
Wet the back.
It's worth the time to really make sure you're lined up good. Make sure that die stays where you put it. We're going to just cut this time. So we'll use our A plate, our shim plate, our cutting plate, and then our C plate on top of that. Might be fun if you were doing this to go ahead and do all the pinks and reds like we did the first time and then put the shimmery on in number 6, because we get kind of an interesting effect where the red goes over the shimmer. It kind of loses some of it. It might be fun to just use the shimmer at the number 6 stage, but you You got to figure these things out by trying. We're going to put this through the embossing folder now. Because why not? When it dries, could it be stickled? I don't know if the ink reactivates. I'm sure it could be stickled. You might just have to be patient and do a little at a time so it doesn't run, you know. Yeah. It's just in the right spot. I think that's off just a little. Let me try it again. Just a little bit off. There, like that. I go ahead and emboss this. Then took the plates I left over here. We need the embossing plate and our embossing folder and our marker, I believe, is what we decided. Ooh. Okay, let's see what we get.
Get quite a bit of shimmer.
You really do. I think it's beautiful, actually. Wow. Okay, let's put this on some black. Because I think that'd be pretty. Let's find out. That's my pad. I don't want to use that. Thank you.
That's brown.
Oh.
Thing.
Um,
There's a black cardstock up here somewhere.
I do. Here it is. Okay. Oh, you have a piece.
I have a piece of black.
That's perfect. I need another 5x7 card. You know what? I think we'll do the same thing. We'll double layer it. Let the white and the black. All right. That's going to be neat. Okay, let's see. I need to get those out from under there. Let's do 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 for our layer. On our card. Hold our card. Let's layer in our black. So we still have the white around it. I think that'll be nice. Especially since we have the white trim around our flower. Put that at a little bit of an angle. Okay. Okay. There's the black mat. when you go to glue these down, you want to get some of your glue on on the part that's raised from this side. Otherwise, it might not reach the card. You know what I mean? If it's in the lower area, it might not touch the card and hold very well. So you want to get around the edges of those flowers and stuff where it's raised a little bit. Let's tip this a little bit. There is the results of our experiment, guys. There we go. Ink together with, can you mix it with the distress oxides? Yep, you can. And you end up with some really interesting and beautiful touches. Let's look at our 3 cards from today. Then we'll talk about what we're doing on Saturday. Whoa. Wow, Bryce just turned the lights on. Let's see what happens now. Maybe it shimmers more, I don't know. Okay, let's see. We've got our water lilies painted directly on black with a water brush and our what are these called again? Lyric waxes. Here is our stenciled card. It looks so simple by comparison. It's actually beautiful, with our distress oxides in a variety of pinks and greens. It's gorgeous, actually. And here is our experiment, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. What do you guys think? Is this fun? 3 beautiful cards, all done with our lyric and our distress oxides and our Lisa Horton folders and dies. I tell you, they're just great fun to play with. It's no wonder they're so popular. They're really, really great fun. If you haven't already hit that thumbs up button, please hit that thumbs up. It makes me feel good, and it tells YouTube that when they refer people here, there's something for them to see. So let's do that. And let's talk about what we're going to do on Saturday. On Saturday, we are doing the amazing and beautiful peacock garden. Oh my gosh. Now, I want to say these designs look really busy on the whole sheet, but when we pull these out, and this is the focal of attention, you are not going to believe how beautiful these cards turn out. This is one of those trust me times. Trust me, they are going to be fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. We will make at least 6 or 8 cards. I will, Roberta. And then we will, this pad will make many, many cards, but we'll try and get at least 6 or 8 done and use something out of every sheet in the punch out sheets. They're just gorgeous. Look at that. There's a card right there by itself. We'll probably use some mirror board with them. This pad is sold out in the store. However, I saw that we have hunky-dory boxes that just came in, and I believe that those are from Europe, and that means that these should be back. So Brittany will be here on Friday, and we will have Brittany list these back. I guess today's Thursday. Brittany will be here tomorrow. I will have her put these back in the system so that those of you who did not get one will have an opportunity to get the peacock garden, because it is just an incredible collection. Just incredible. So that's what we're going to do on Saturday. And are there any questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom? Isn't Margie doing a good job with her online stuff? I just want to give her a round of applause. I watched her What's New Wednesday last night. You wouldn't think, you would never guess she doesn't do that all the time. She did a beautiful job, and she's just getting so much more confident and so much more conversational, and she's doing a great job. So I'm very, very proud of her. It's always nice to see one of your proteges take off and do well, and I'm so proud of her. So if there are no questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom, I think I'm going to go ahead and say good night for tonight. We will see you on Saturday. And let me just say good night, Gracie.